Hi, my name is Loree Kincher.
Hi, my name is Megan Otto.
Hi, I'm Marilia Naya.
Hello, my name is Gillian.
Hi, I'm Rue.
Hi, I'm Emma.
Hi, I'm David Goldstein.
Hi, I'm Raina.
Hi everyone, my name's Dal.
Hello, my name is Gabrielle Kaderi and I'm a literary intern. I've loved reading all the submissions from our writers and artists from issue 12 and seeing how they use their craft to connect with their audiences. I particularly love when poets create new dimensions of meaning from the language that they use. When reading submissions from issue 12, I was always blown away by the impactful use of metaphors in our pieces.
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm the social justice intern for Awakenings, and I absolutely admire how our writers in issue 12 have pushed the boundaries of a single story to embrace a deeper understanding of their journeys.
Hi, I'm Jerry. I'm the creative director, and I lead the Awaken Voices team. Congratulations to our writers and artists. This issue is so beautiful. To everyone who is reading and watching along, thank you for being here and being part of our audience. I found that all of the artwork we had in was incredibly beautiful, the poetry so moving, and the prose incredibly lyrical. Huge thank you to the reviewers. Enjoy the night.
Hi, my name is Megan Otto. I am an assistant editor for Awakened Voices, and I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to read and be moved by so many amazing pieces that were submitted for this issue. I am now honored to introduce A Blank Space Occupies the Brain by Emery Bartlett. This poem is a meta-narrative of emptiness, memory, and forgetting, and the blank space that this poem refers to is somehow also what the poem is full of. I'm grateful for this piece that deftly uses contradiction to create a window into the specific headspace of writing about sexual violence.
An incident occurs. An incident occurs, and for 3.5 years I digest mind and body in an effort not to speak its name. The incident has a name. It has a name. It. I say it. I say it. I say sexual violence. But sexual violence has many names. This one, a boy's name, a person's name. He was older than me, 16, and terrified of the world, arms soft, dyed hair, a percussionist. The two of us, a unit. And this is becoming a diary, not a poem. But how am I supposed to write anything but memory when even memory is untrustworthy, unreliable, not believable? Can you believe this story, coming from a mind that for 3.5 years could not speak its name? It. I say it. I say, let's just write about something, anything else.
Hi, I'm David Blessed. I'm a reviewer for Awakened Voices, and every year I have the honor of reading through dozens of submissions from artists finding their voice. I'm pleased to introduce Morning by Jay Green. This piece is a perfect blend of the visual and the rhythm, with strong use of repetition in both. While it appears as old-fashioned Kodak film, it also reminds me of the stereopticon, where you have to look at both images simultaneously to see the whole picture. Take your time.
I was his friend. I was his wife. I was his teacher. I was his student. I was his ride home. I was his brother. I was his teammate. I was his classmate. I was new on the job. I knew everybody. I didn't know anybody. I was fired. I was sick. I was high. I was 5 foot tall. I was homeless. I was home. I was in hospice. I was learning fractions. I was asleep. I was a slave. I was new in town. I was his neighbor. I was under arrest. I was a patient. I was a doctor. I was schizophrenic. I was in labor. I was dying. I was in my wedding gown. I was in my prom dress. I was in the Boy Scouts. I was in the dark. I was in boot camp. I was in front of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. I was in front of my contract. I was in front of my father. I was in front of the only man I ever loved. I was in back of a dumpster. She was on her back. She came back. She came. She froze. She was my friend. She was my wife. She was. I was. I was by someone I trusted.
My name is Gillian. I am a former literary intern at Awakenings, and since then, I am on the reading team for Awakened Voices, as well as on the art committee. I had such a wonderful time reading submissions this year. It was really interesting to see what people came up with without a theme. I am so thrilled to introduce to you one of my favorite poems, We Are the Ones by Jude Rittenhouse, after the sculpture called Letting Go by Renee Rhodes. This was such a beautiful poem to read. It had such an amazing sense of breath and pause, and some of the most interesting and uniquely perfect word choice that I've seen in a poem in a really long time. So enjoy the poem, enjoy the rest of your night.
This is an ekphrastic poem. Ekphrastic means inspired by a work of art. And the work of art that inspired it is a bronze sculpture by Renee Rhodes called Letting Go. The poem is titled, We Are the Ones. We are the ones. Our naked bodies blow horizontal as we fly hard winds, just hanging on to a slender tree. We heed the music of light and breezes that others can't hear, feel, see. We make endurance look almost easy, freed by our demons, by nightmare breakages received too young, invasions splitting our spirits from bone, blame, shame, cultural failures, no one believing our keening. We had to leave our bodies and earths, grow something like wings. When pain usurps too much space, what wind does to trees seems preferable, less freezing. Necessity, our grandmother, bade us rise as she had and those before her. Remember your heritage and earths. Take your sisters' hands. Extend tree and wind. Exceed their reach. Thus we learned what can be trusted. Starlight and fog curled in our locks, loosened us. Time came and went like a lover. Old fears and charms became weary, rusted, keys no longer needed. Sometimes we fall, or choose earth, return, become trees where future generations discover wings. Broken, open. We are the ones ready to receive screaming secrets, hungers, needs, ready to teach like spider goddess or sea, how to weave fresh stories of lives blown clean. Meanwhile, we whisper or scream, depending on songs that most need our singing, depending on who's listening, believing.
Hi, I'm Jerry, and I am honored to introduce Phil Goldstein's poem, Find Me in the Forest. This piece responds to an artwork that has been in the Awakened Voices permanent collection for a long time. Lauren Lovato's Ring of Fire has been a favorite of mine, but now I love the piece even more as Phil's piece responds, adds on to this form of healing, and speaks across modalities. This is one of my favorite things about artwork and about the ways in which we as a community of survivors, allies, and advocates can come together for each other and to continue to create artwork. Please enjoy.
Find me in the forest. I am finished product, commercial paper sitting in a stack in an empty home. I imagine a different life for myself. I have so many possible uses and endings. For me, paper sometimes summons an image of a gas tank with a bold warning emblazoned on its side, a white flame, like scrub brush, birthing a larger black flame on top of it. Images of real flames dance in my head. I am paper, surrounded by more paper, and I am afraid of what this means for my existence. I am in a hall of mirrors made of fine, thick paper stock, all perpendicular angles rising infinitely upwards. His presence in my mind and his hands on my body act like a lit match waiting to connect with me. Blow it out! Blow it out! It doesn't work, and I am suddenly burning. Flames riding higher, blackening my skin. I am disintegrating, my amber edges glowing. I am transmorgifying into ashy pulp. He thinks I am gone, but I will make my way back into the rich black forest soil. Years later, after this inferno burned our house down silently, I will sprout iridescent, alive and lush, dripping in the dawn.
Hi, my name is Loree Kincher. I'm the Executive Director of Awakenings, and I'm so excited to be part of this launch for issue 12 of Awakened Voices. I'm always so excited when we get a piece of visual art into the magazine because I feel like it gives readers a really good chance to sort of pause and reflect and check in with themselves and with their bodies, and this piece does that so perfectly. It's called Dreaming of Breathing, and I just feel like the more you look at it, the more you see. And so without further ado, Carolina Zagortia's Dreaming of Breathing.
There's a secret not even I knew about. It slowly showed itself. I don't even know how it happened, how breathing came naturally to me again. I found my voice, hidden and scared in a corner of my heart that never wanted to stop beating. A heart that had been numb for so long, frozen, suspended in a time that's neither here nor there, like an event horizon to be reached and explored further. Something inside of me exploded like a supernova, creating tiny particles of air that started floating all around me. It was like waking up from a dream. A hazy shade of numbness was still there, stinging my body that had forgotten how to move. I got up, slowly, and tried breathing again. And I could do it. My brain, my heart, my entire being was full of oxygen again. It was the life I had been seeking when I had thought myself already gone. I had just lain there, unmoving, not breathing, not saying anything, but still, I was protected by the shield of my wanting to fully live again. One breath, and then another, until I slowly got used to the rhythm my body was used to before. Life is made out of dreams anyway. Bits and pieces, and hey, where do thoughts go when they leave after the station called? Myself. Where are memories stored? Where does my breath go after leaving my body with all the information it got from my cells? Scattering in the wind. I am everywhere. My breath is made of words that were once cells permeating my body, leaving traces everywhere they go, touching people, making waves with the ocean in summer, budding in spring, falling in autumn with the last leaves just before winter comes and buries them, snowflakes protecting them until it's time to come out again. Don't worry if you forgot to breathe for a moment. Your next breath will come again.
Hi, I'm Rue. I'm a literary reviewer of Awakened Voices. I was so intrigued by the rich metaphors and overall vulnerable through line of the submissions from this issue. And I am absolutely beyond excited to introduce Survivors by Loree Coons. I kept leaning into the juxtaposition between the poetic imagery and the traumatic memory that this poem so brilliantly executed. It offers me a deep sense of understanding and hope for healing. Now please enjoy.
Hi, my name is Loree Coons and I'm reading my poem, Survivors. Survivors. The sky splinters in slivers of violet. This last day of July, collared in Queen Anne's lace, bracelets of clover. You regret the lilac bush outside our father's house has had an early bloom. As children, we'd pick the fallen clusters off the ground, press them in his heavy books, then forget. Years later, when I turned a page, a resemblance of lilac fell on the blanket covering him. At the funeral, you murmur, I'm only here because he's dead. And once again, the creak and stir of your bedroom door wakes me. All those years I wanted to scream for you, for both of us, but what good would it have done? I couldn't imagine what could save me from his open hissed kiss, that chapped palm against my lean body. I never warned you of his approaching step, always echoing heavily through feigned dreams. We don't speak of this or the dead, but walk from the gravesite among all we can name: milkweed, tiger lily, bloodroot, the path overgrown since childhood, when we played with wild snapdragons, your hand pressed over mine, just the right pressure where to pinch, and the yellow-tongued flower parted its lips.
Hi everyone, my name's Sal and I'm a reviewer for Awakened Voices and a former programming intern for Awakenings. I'm very excited to introduce Ride the Peter Pan by A. Wittenberg. Here, Wittenberg uses clever and surprising figurative language to characterize both the inner and the outer worlds, as well as how they spill into and interact with one another. I hope that you enjoy.
Hi, I'm Allison Wittenberg, and I want to thank Awakening Magazine for this launch party. I can't wait to we see each other face to face, but I guess I will read a little bit from Ride the Peter Pan, and once again, thanks so much for selecting it. The bus driver stopped just past Columbia. He told us to get a Coke or a smoke. The previous day I had thrown up twice. Today I was hungry. I went to the restroom to wash up. The smell of joints hit me, as did the sight of the women brushing their teeth and washing themselves. Not just bird baths, not just splashing under armpits or a spritz to open dry eyes. These women had their tops off and their pants down. They were buck naked, crowded together by the drain. I left the restroom and cleansed my hands with a moistened towelette I had stored in a carry-all bag. I ducked into the terminal coffee shop and sat by the corner. A waitress made her way over to me and grunted. "Do you have any turkey?" I asked. "No." "Well, what do you have?" I asked. "Burger." "What do you want? A club?" "No, I want a Rachel." She stared at me blankly. I explained. "It's like a Reuben, but you use turkey?" "We don't have no turkey." "Do you have bacon?" "Do you want a BLT?" "No, a bacon cheeseburger." "We don't have no cheese." I squinted. "No cheese, no bacon?" "Nope." "So what do you want?" "An abortion." She gave me a blank stare. "I'll have a burger," I said, hoarsely swallowing hard. "Want fries with that?" So the moon-faced waitress slid the plate my way. The bun was cold, and the burger looked like a SOS scouring pad.
Hi, I'm Aurelianaya, and I'm a reviewer. I've loved keeping ties with the magazine for about 2 years now because of the way it continues to amplify the voices of survivors with such an embrace. I'm honored today to introduce Desert Passage by Jane Beale. It's a piece that stuck with me because of its subtly uncomfortable and dreamlike imagery. Everyone, Jane Beale.
Desert Passage by Jane Beale. A wooden chair nailed to a tall, headless, branchless tree trunk. A vintage piece of Santa Fe whimsy, my friend says. Real life, looking surreal, suspended above the red desert dust, swirling at the crossroads like two Cochiti women and a boy. At night, a coyote flees across the street alone, briefly illuminated by the headlights of a stranger's car. Is my angel sitting in that high chair like a 3-year-old, struck dumb by the memory of my father getting out of the bath? Is my angel running after the coyote in the dark, while I wrestle with a demon in the air above my bed? Is my angel tired after 33 years of trying to protect the impossible child, soul screaming, mouth streaming, bitter white? The monsoon comes, lightning without thunder, rain without remorse. Sunflowers bloom in the desert. The double rainbow appears, a piece of heaven's ephemera, the original translucent found art object in the sky. Brewer's blackbird sings me awake. A hummingbird darts close, then away. Mariposa wings open, yellow and black, eyes on her back. Is my angel in the rain? Does Michael steal the thunder? Does Gabriel paint the sky? Will Raphael uproot the sunflowers, wave them over my head like a wand, and turn me into a blue jay? I see one now. He sits on a twig, shits white, flies toward me, and vanishes. Everything disappears into eternity. Beside a cholla cactus, I sit sheltered by a Cochiti red blanket, scraping dry pottery shards against the wounded ground. I spit in the sand, mix a gritty glue, paste one shard against another, until a broken-faced doll holds all the babies. My angel remembers in pain. I paint her clay storyteller skin blue as the turquoise sky, pure as clouds over the Badlands.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm a reviewer with Awakened Voices, and I love getting to learn about healing in new ways with each issue. I'm so excited to introduce Hope by Kelly Sargent. Sargent's art is simplistic, yet it speaks volumes. I see a girl isolated and alone, but the butterfly and the bright colors that surround it inspire hope that things can change. I hope all of you enjoy this piece as much as I did.
As an artist, typically I prefer to allow viewers to interpret my artwork through their own lens, ascribing their own meaning, feelings, and thoughts to a piece. However, because this is such a deeply personal expression resulting from my own childhood abuse, and one that many other survivors of abuse may relate to, I feel compelled to lend voice to it. As a little girl, being abused put me in a dark place, a barren room inside my mind, devoid of color and warmth and comfort. The walls were as stone, cold and impenetrable. I felt cornered, small, and alone. There came a point, however, at which I realized that pain can have a purpose. A caterpillar confined to life on the ground eventually must spend time in a cocoon, alone, confined, and in darkness, experiencing the pain of literally turning its insides out, before in time emerging as a beautiful creation. Furthermore, the new butterfly is no longer limited to living on one plane. She can fly, soar even, and experience life differently from the other caterpillars remaining on the ground. The pain had a purpose. It is not only my belief, but my experience that survivors develop a depth of character, a rare sense of empathy, a formidable resilience, and an insightful wisdom that come from moving through our pain. May we all recognize not only the little one inside, but also the butterfly it is possible to become. Above all, to realize that there is hope, and that it lies within.
Hello, Gillian again, here to introduce to you Oil Stains by Courtney Campbell, another wonderful poem. It had such quick, short lines that I had such a physical reaction to the imagery. When things were explained, I felt like I could see it and hear it and feel everything and even smell everything, and I thought Courtney did a wonderful job, so enjoy the poem.
Oil stains. Chilled insides quiver like green gelatin. Adjectives swish in my mouth like scope. A rigid tongue clings to the roof of my mouth, refuses to move. Red and blue flashes swirl across dirty pavement. The drive must be scrubbed. Oil stains scatter my thoughts. What did he look like? The tapping of brown boots, a furrowed brow, the incessant clicking of a pin pique my curiosity. How do others clean their driveway? A tired clipboard clanks against a metallic badge. Ma'am, can you give us his description? I swallow words like alphabet pasta. Sit, close my eyes, regurgitate nonsense, wipe my mouth. Thank you. We'll be in touch.
Hi, I'm Raina. I'm a reviewer at Awakenings, and I love the variety of moving and powerful work from the writers and artists in issue 12. I am delighted to introduce Two Eyes to See With by Mars White Wildish. White Wildish's mixed media piece is extremely creative and unique. The piece contains various working elements that are fabulously integrated with one another and provoke subtle feelings of fear and darkness in the viewer. Enjoy.
The knives come out. I will certainly not apologize for what it's like now. I have two eyes to see with. This piece is part found object, part intuitive collage. It is an early opening into a long silence part of me that had been aching and angry to be heard. When we have experienced trauma, what do we owe the world? What do we owe ourselves? For too long, shame may tell us the answer is silence. Ignore, shut up, get over it, avert your gaze. Don't upset others with uncomfortable truths. Don't let your heart bleed out over the rug. Don't let it pour out your eyes. So much of my healing came from releasing these limiting stories and learning to embrace the creatures of rage and grief that have been locked away in me. I had to listen to their terrified and terrifying stories and learn to meet them with undying love and approval. From the space of interconnection, we open to new possibilities and a future of our own creation. So much gratitude to everyone at Awakenings for this opportunity to let these parts of myself be heard and seen. And so much love for everyone who's listening, who's claiming their own power of unapologetic clear-sightedness. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Please check out the rest of the issue. There's so much beautiful artwork and poetry and prose. You can find the whole issue and other issues at www.awakeningsart.org. Thank you so much for joining us.